Hello, everyone. This is Toby with Birdsong Studios. How are you guys doing? Welcome into the new studio. Yay! I'm so glad to have you guys here. So we are here today to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about some sciencey stuff. We're going to talk about photons and protons. We're going to talk about an energy technique that I was given by my guides a few months ago that I haven't introduced widely because I knew there was more information I needed to be able to really explain this to you and to be able to teach it to the fullest extent of it. I am still getting more information. However, I want to talk briefly about it with you. And I want to put the invitation out there that if you're interested in learning more about this, please contact me because I am going to be setting up some training on this. So if you have questions about it, let me know. Also, would like to talk about the interview between Joe Rogan on his podcast and Terrence Howard. Super, super, super interesting. And I also want to put the invitation out there, or the offer out there. I would love to speak with Mr. Howard. So if any of you have any information on how I could get in contact with him, or if you happen to know him, show him this video, please. I would love to speak with him. Some of the information I received in a download this morning around that energy technique I mentioned. I'm not going to go into the full details of it on this video, but Mr. Howard, I would love to share the information with you directly or with your people. It specifically has to do with potential implications or additional information that could help with the linchpin technology that you are developing or have developed. So yes, so I'm going to put that out there because I have some information that may be helpful and I would love to discuss some stuff with you. So, all right, guys, so protons and photons. So I've been getting information about this energy technique, right? And the energy technique is one that moves through intention, and we intentionally move energy, golden light energy, photons, in a specific way, in a specific sequence, in a specific direction, multi-directional, multi-dimensional. And through this technique, then we become our own battery cell, so to speak, so that we recirculate this energy within ourselves, within our chakras, within our toroidal field. It creates an energetic, we become our own protective field, and we become our own battery again. It helps to facilitate our own healing. And it allows us to then, I feel this will be particularly helpful for those of you who are healers or work in energy in whatever form that is, but it allows us to be very intentional with the healing and the energetic connection that we offer to others, whether it's out to the collective or whether it's to individual or group clients, in a very intentional way. And with a specific connection point as well, I'll say. So if you're interested in learning more about that, please let me know. Again, I am going to begin offering some training on that practice. So what does this have to do with protons and photons? So there are a couple things to it. First of all, let's talk about how protons and photons have to do with our ascension to New Earth, because it all has to do with healing, right? And the individual healing that we're doing, each of us, and how that impacts and spreads. And my cat is making noise. She always does this. How that spreads out and ripples out into the collective, correct? So very interestingly, I was getting messages again about protons and photons. And so I did a little bit of research to refresh my memory on the difference between the two and came across a really interesting tidbit. As a refresher for y'all, protons are the positively charged particles within the atom. They do have mass, right? photons have no mass. They move at the speed of light, and they are packets of energy. They are the particles that make up light. So what's really interesting that I found is that, first of all, it's been proven that there are biophotons. So our cells emanate photons. We literally emanate light. And as we're talking about going through this ascension process, we talked about in the last video how we're integrating the light body, right? This is the science behind how we're integrating the light body. It has to do with this connection and this relationship between protons and photons, and how they communicate with each other. And actually, protons emanate photons as like a, we'll call it communication. I know if you're a nuclear scientist, you're not going to say, you're going to say that's incorrect. But for this, for the purpose of this conversation, it is a bit of a communication. Because as we are emanating light, we are then communicating that out to others, right? When we talk about shining our light, it is a form of communication. It is a form of expression of the self. It is a form also of healing of ourselves and of others. And so it is this expression of the photons that is part of the ascension process. It's the process that is happening within our atoms. It's when we talk about cellular activations, we are talking about there is a physical aspect of the protons and photons and how they are interacting, how they are communicating. And even to the point of, it was a very interesting part of the research that I read indicated that electrons also emanate photons. Now, electrons are the negatively charged particles. And what was interesting was one of the questions that I came across was, so what is the difference between a photon emanated by a proton and one emanated by an electron? Well, ultimately, there is no difference. But what's really interesting, I think, is that at some point the photon that emanated from the electron will interfere with other exchanges or interfere in exchanges with other photons differently than the photon emitted from a proton. How interesting is that? If we're talking about law of attraction, and we're talking about frequencies, and we're talking about positively charged and negatively charged particles or energy or thoughts, words, right? There's like our scientific proof, so to speak, of how that occurs, because everything is light, everything is energy. So if it's coming from a positively charged place, that proton, then it's going to have a different impact on other photons, on other energies, than if it comes from a negatively charged place, the electron. I hope you guys see where I'm going with this. Maybe I'm not describing this well enough because I'm feeling a bunch of question marks. But so if you're going to have a different ripple out effect when your energy is coming from, and I hate to say lower or higher, but let's use that scale because that's the scale that we have to quantify this, right? So to be able to quantify it. So we're coming from a lower vibration, that the light you're emanating from that space is going to be different than the light that you're emanating from a higher space. I mean, we knew that already, but how fascinating is it to actually have that proof at the subatomic level? Just is mind-blowing to me. Maybe I think that's just amazing proof of what we knew from a spiritual level, but to have it be described from this deep cellular level, now we can see then how these activations are, and the healing journey that we've each gone through, right? We're literally healing ourselves at an atomic level when we go through these healing practices, when we go through the journey of learning about ourselves, of addressing our trauma, of addressing our thought forms and our perspective, of addressing the attitudes and acknowledging and moving from the heart space when we're working from a place of opening the chakras and removing those blockages. How amazing is it that we actually can look and at the atoms within us and recognize that there's been a change, and this is the ascension process. And so it is this process that is allowing us to then move into new earth, right? So the work y'all are doing, you're not just changing your mental space, and by changing your energy, you're changing your atoms, you're changing your molecular structures. It's amazing. It's amazing. I think it's amazing. I hope you guys think it's amazing too. It's fascinating. Fascinating. So I think I'm going to leave it there because I could go on and on and on and on forever. But if you guys want some longer video on this, I will go into more detail, or maybe we'll do like a Zoom call or something, and we can have questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. This is a new download for me today. There's more to it, but that's the main gist of it. Again, it is related to that energy technique. Because as we are emitting more light through the healing process, that has to do with the awakening of this energy. And it is similar to the Kundalini energy, but it does work in a specific way. And we're able to, I can guide you through the technique, through recirculating this, so that we are providing this sovereign source of energy. So if you have any questions, let me know. Again, Mr. Howard would love to speak with you. Putting it out there, would love to speak with you. If anybody knows how to get in touch with him, please do so. Or let me know. I truly would really love to speak with him about this. And I do think it, if nothing else, it would be a fascinating conversation about what he's working on and this technique and how we can go further with it, because it goes beyond. There are several other applications. I think there are more to come that I have not received that information on yet, but there are more applications than just the human battery cell and the ability to work with healing. Okay, so here's one last thing I'm going to say about protons and photons that I forgot to mention as I was doing the research. We talked with this energy technique, we talked about the ability to heal, right? When I first did my search on the difference between protons and photons, and I was completely unaware of this, but did you know that two of the main types of radiation therapy treatments are proton therapy and photon therapy. We literally emanate photons from our cells naturally. So we have the ability to heal ourselves and to heal others. And it's an innate ability. It literally comes from our cells. It's a matter of being able to tap into it, to direct it, to utilize it, and then to be able to rejuvenate it, recirculate it, reinvigorate it, so that we're not running on empty, literally, so that we're not drained. So yeah, those are all parts of that technique that I was talking about. Really, really fascinating. I think really fascinating. So I'm excited to share it with you guys. All right. Let me know if you have any questions, if you're interested in learning more about this. I will be back soon. I think I'm going to do a reading on the alignment coming up on June 3rd. We did talk about, did we talk about storms maybe in August? I can't remember if I mentioned that or not. But we'll do some other things on that as we go through the summer. All right, guys. And if you have any questions, if I can do anything to help, you know how to get in touch with me. Until then, all my best to you. Much love to you all. Thank you.